think of different ways to the queens.
Yeah, and black absolutely cannot afford of trading the queens in this position because when the queens are off of the board, the pawns will just roll to the back rank, and that's going to be very hard to stop it. So that's why right now, okay,
We
Surya
have a
was
few
thinking,
moves.
yeah, we have some moves here. Bishop h5 was played,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Yushipenko will come up with queen a3 pretty soon. Two more moves to the time control, and 2 more minutes.
Yeah, Queen E3 and Queen G4 played. So his 40th move right now is for Reshipenko. Uh, what would you play if you had only had just 2 minutes remaining?
Well, for sure, you shouldn't move like Queen h3 because that would be very fatal. Queen f4 is there, and then you can say goodbye to your winning chances because there is perpetual on the back rank. Queen c1, Queen f4, Queen c1, Queen f4, and there you go. So instead of Queen h3, what would I do? Everything looks solid right now. I think if next move is my 40th move, I'll just play, let's say, rook b3. I will not change the position.
Hmm.
Just keep it like that, and I'm sure on the next move then I can think better because I will have more time on the clock. Yeah, so my approach would be I will not change the position.
Yeah, that's very wise. Um, that's very wise approach. Not to commit anything, not to make anything that you would um,
You'd
regret.
regret, yeah. Oh, this, this feels like some personal experience. Okay, yeah, so what would you do in this position? Which move would you play?
Uh, so something similar, something which would be as less committal as possible, something if possible repetition. Something like Queen F3 also came to my mind, but that's a committal move in a way that it alters the pawn structure, but maybe doesn't change things in such a bad way for white. So I would consider Queen F3. Meanwhile, it seems like there's a move. I don't know
There
exactly,
is a
but
move, but the move hasn't registered to my computer yet. So
yeah, same.
it was d5.
D5. I was thinking about D5 as well. The knight goes to E6, and it's also not quite committal in the sense that it doesn't change the structure or the piece placement too much. And with this, he makes the 40th move. The knight comes to E6 potentially next. It feels like white is in safe hands and is marching towards a victory.
Yeah, looks like everything is in Yushipenko's pocket right now because things have been solidified here around the king, and he is using his advantage with the pawn right now. Three more squares to go for the pawn to promote, but of course, by playing d5, not only that he's getting closer to the promotion square, but he is also trying to create an outpost for the knight on the e6 square. So things are looking good for Yushipenko. And meanwhile, during the break also, we had another result. On the second board, Nihal Sarin agreed to make a draw with Sankap Gupta.
Yeah, a very solid draw from Nihal's point of view, but also Black had a fine position for the most part. So, kind of understandable that they made a draw at this point, making a repetition on towards the 30th move so that they can make draw. There was a slight advantage in pawn structure for white throughout the game, but black always had better piece activity. So these two factors cancelled each other out. And we also have some considerable action in the Adivan Sargisian game,
Yep.
where the queens and the rooks both are off the board since we last saw the game at this point after queen c6. After c5, black traded a pair of rooks with rook e8, takes. And then he played the queen to b5, and the queens were also off the board. Both these developments taking black closer to victory, Irene. What do you think?
I think so too. Yes, I think so too. I was a bit afraid of the bishop actually. Like after bishop takes b5, what happened after c3? But then I quickly realized that the bishop is not actually trapped there because you can always have bishop a4 to stop the king from going to b3. And at the same time, you can also run with your king going after the c5 pawn. And that pawn looks like it's very loose.
Absolutely. And what you said is true in this position as well, the live position. The pawn on c5 is very loose. So Adiman right now he has two pawns for the piece, but that could very quickly be just one pawn for the piece if the c5 pawn is attacked by the king. So um, a very difficult position for Adiman. 8 minutes for the four remaining moves, but time is not such a major factor here. In terms of position, it looks like black is just marching towards a win.
Right. And I think I would like to go to the fifth board because there have been some actions there and more pieces on the board between Raja Ritwik versus Karthikeyan. So Raja has only 3 minutes left on the clock, while Karthikeyan still has 5 minutes or 6 minutes. I mean, it's not so much difference. But what I notice is just it's still pretty much going on. Like we have the queen, the rook, and the bishops on the board. And who is actually better in this one?
Uh, that's a difficult question to answer. Although the comp points out at 0.00, black's pieces look a little more active, but it doesn't take long for white to, reach into black's position. Rook e8 is one idea. This knight comes to d3. You can trade this light square bishop with bishop d3 and bring the knight. So black's king actually also has potential weak entry points which white can use to infiltrate. So right now, I think black is the one who needs to be a little more careful.
Right, yes. Well, technically speaking, the king on h8 is not doing anything. I mean, it cannot go anywhere anyway. So what is the plan here? I'm also noticing the back rank. White's back rank is not entirely safe, but as of now, there's nothing that black can do about it yet. So, and he's doing it. Queen d7. I was just mentioning about the back rank, and queen d7 is on the board,
Yeah,
aiming,
predicting the back rank.
yeah, aiming to go to d1. So what do you do in this position then?
My first instinct is to play bishop d3 to trade this light square bishops off and also try and bring my knight into the game.
That's making a lot of sense. Yeah, because that knight on c1, it's a very sad knight. It doesn't really have any work. So let's put it into work. Yeah, bishop d3, I really like it. But also on the other hand, I like the bishop on c4 for white because it stops any activity from the king. So if you want to activate the knight, can we do it now? Knight
Yeah,
d3?
that was my second instinct, getting the knight into the game directly, and I think white will definitely play either of these two moves.
Mm-hmm.
But at these points, speed is also an important factor. I think you need to make these decisions quickly because there's 15 more moves. Yeah, it's not five more moves, but 15 more moves to make the time control right now after rook
Wow.
e2 and queen d7.
Yes, 15 more moves in under about 5 minutes and 2 minutes each. Okay, Raja looks like he's going to make his move soon. Let's see what he's going to do. And knight d3 is on the board.
Yeah, 93 is it's a fine move. The knight heads towards e5. There's potential attack on f4. As black, you're probably trying to make something related to f3
Yeah,
work. Yeah.
yeah, but I don't think it's there's ever good time because if you push the f3 now, maybe white can just
Yeah, now white
take
can
it.
just take
Yeah,
because
you
of
can
the
just take
pin
it.
against the bishop. The rook on f8 is hanging, but maybe start with bishop g6 first. And but against bishop g6, knight e5 does not work because there's queen d1
Queen
check.
d1 check,
Yeah.
yes. But at that position, after bishop g6, okay, where does the queen go? My first instinct is to trade it off, but on the other hand, also I don't like to trade it off. But if I don't trade it off, then f3 might happen. So it's a tricky position. Like let's say queen e5, and then after queen e5, I think you would push this pawn to
Yeah,
f3.
now I'll gladly push to f3.
Yeah.
And here, in fact, I'm surprised the bar is not, showing more towards black because f3 looks like such a strong idea opening up white's king side. But
Mm-hmm.
if the evaluation bar doesn't move so much, then maybe white has pretty decent defensive resources even after f3.
Okay, so probably you just have to after that position, you just have to try to trade the queens then, because without the queens, the position is quite dry.
But how do you do it? Like, do you do it on g4 or d5?
Oh, in this position, I like d5,
Yeah, center,
centralizing
yeah.
the queen. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So queen d5 and here, yeah, the queens come off. after queen takes d5, bishop d5. But here maybe black can also take themselves out of danger. Even something like bishop into d3 comes to my mind to go into an opposite color bishop endgame, because the e7 point is protected for the moment, and then I'll play the bishop to f6, and I might be in time to organize a defense. So I'm not sure if uh, black would want to make a draw like this, but this is at least an option for black to consider.
Right. I think there was some move on
Bishop
bishop c7.
g6. Ah, no, bishop
Bishop
c7, right?
c7, not bishop g6. Yeah, so stopping knight e5. Well,
Yeah, Karthikeyan also wants to keep things complex. Yeah, he doesn't want to liquidate things from the looks of it.
he played a5. Raja played a5. Trying to, oh, sorry, not f5, bishop b5. It
Oh,
looks like something along those squares,
yeah, but
from
I
the
would have been
video.
shocked if he played a5 because that was allowing, I think, b5.
Now the queen has to be very careful not to move it like a square like d4 because the back rank is very weak. So if queen goes to d4, then queen f5 suddenly happens. And if rook takes f5, rook d8 comes with a checkmate soon. So after this bishop b5 move, then where does the queen go?
You have to cover the e8 square or the f8 square. Yeah, so either
Yes.
queen d6 or queen d8.
Yeah, I think I like queen d6 better.
But queen d6, are you
Oh, maybe knight
allowing knight
e5.
e5?
Yeah.
But maybe not because there's queen d1 check and bishop into e5. And the rook is pinned,
Oh, right.
so
Yes, the
queen
rook
is
is pinned.
attacked. So for this reason, knight e5 is not possible. So queen d6 is possible with the deadly threat of f3.
Yeah, queen e6 is already on the board, and now Raja has to think. Okay, they're in mutual time trouble because their time situation is similar.
There are actually a lot of pitfalls that white can fall into, but rook e8 is a safe move.
Yeah, rook e8, you just try to simplify the position, and yeah, I like that move actually.
Yeah, you not just simplify the position, but you're still setting a few problems for black. In There is an immediate threat of queen to f5. Black cannot take rook into e8. He probably has to play queen f6 to defend the f5 bishop. And the endgame is also, it's not totally dead yet.
Yep.
White can create a few different threats, but mainly, with less time, you will have control. Did he play
Oh,
queen
queen
f3?
f3, queen f3, just primitively stopping f4, f3 to happen. I think this is also, I
Yeah,
think,
it's perfectly
pretty
fine, I
good.
think. Yeah, it's a playable move. Keeps the game going, and but also one problem of black has been solved, that the queen on h5 was creating a few threats. So he has solved one of his problems, but in general, the position has quite a few weaknesses for black. So in that sense, rook e8 was a safe move, but queen f3 keeps the winning chances definitely more alive.
Yeah, so I think we can leave this one for a while because this, even though they're on time trouble, who's also having the time trouble is both six,
Mm-hmm.
but the
Mm-hmm.
position has been simplified a lot, and I think Knight is in the upper
Oh,
hand situation right now. There's just some tactic coming on the board. I mean, it just happened, so there might be a huge oversight by Shovalova.
definitely. White is winning here, and she's fighting on still knight g8, attacking the rook on f6 and knight on c5. But I guess that fight might not go on for a lot longer. I think queen e5 should finish off the queen e5. There's rook into f4, so you do need to have some precision. But I think it should anyhow win. Rook into f4. There's rook f7, and then the knight goes to e6. So this is one of the ways that white can
Wow,
win.
beautiful, beautiful. We can stay on this game for a bit. Okay, knight g8. Okay, knight h also has only 3 minutes left on the clock, and he still has to make another 9 moves to make it to the time control. So yeah, both players have to play faster, but
Yeah,
it's an easier position for white to play.
absolutely. Couple of precise moves is what's required, what the doctor has ordered. Just two precise moves, like a double tap and
Double tap. True enough. You're making all of these references, like you mean double tap like in boxing, yeah? Like you resign, yeah?
it has a lot of different references, but also on esports, like with a headshot, a double tap, and
No, I don't know anything about esports.
yeah, that's why I had a long pass before making that reference because it's like that's such a sinister reference, but okay.
But okay, rook e6 is on the board. So can you tell us why the knight on c5 cannot be captured?
I mean, then I don't see if I can be captured, but I guess white.
And she just
I,
did it.
yeah, I was thinking initially that white will go rook e8, queen e6, and finish it off, but that's not the reason. It's just bishop e3. Yeah, a simple tactic. And after bishop e3, I think resignation is incoming.
Right. Yeah, bishop e3 is already on the board, and
She takes
knowing
queen takes c4.
knowing Shivalova, I think she would keep playing until bishop takes d4, queen takes d4, and rook e8.
Yeah, he takes it. Queen takes d4 will come on the board, and rook 8 certainly looks strong here with the idea of queen e6.
Yes, yes. I think king has to go to h7, but then you still play queen
Queen
e6
e6.
anyway.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, so Knightage or Kadich, with this win letter, he will
Be the first person to move into 3 points.
exactly, yeah, he'll be the first person
Yeah.
with 3 points. Yeah. Yeah, the rest is still going on. I mean, the other 2 pointers on the second board, they made a draw. What just happened there?
Queen e5.
Oh, instead of rook e8, yeah?
Yeah. He goes for a more positional approach. Just trading the queens.
Centralizing the queen, yeah.
Yeah, and trading the queens off. Queen d3 and now maybe rook e8. Yeah.
Yeah, rook e8 will
But rook
come.
e8 now there's king h7. So um so maybe not.
Or maybe after queen d3, rook d6 first.
Yeah, I was thinking about rook d6. I was thinking about rook d6 and then rook d8.
Yep. Depends on where the queen goes. Like after rook d6, queen c2, let's say, and rook d8, knight f6.
Rook d8, king h7.
Sorry, king h7, yep.
And then, okay, so another approach for white is to just take this a7 pawn, rook d6, queen c2, rook d7, and then just take the a7 pawn.
Or, oh, I know actually, rook d6, queen c2, rook d8, king h7, and then rook d5.
Yeah, yeah, I saw this one as well.
And you just take on f5 with a check and simplifying the queens. I think it's GG.
What point do you expect the resignation?
Now?
No, she plays
No,
queen
she
c2.
plays. She plays queen c2. Okay, probably after rook d5. I think she's. I think Arkady will go for this line with rook d5, rook d8, and then rook d5.
Yeah, I think rook d8 we can agree. Actually, rook d8, king h7, rook d7 is stronger.
That is the idea. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no, it's queen c6 check.
Oh, okay. See? No, still okay, still okay. Queen d5
Yeah,
is there.
still there's queen d5, but
I thought it was a double attack to the king and the rook, and then the rook is lost. But okay, queen d5 is there. Yeah. Okay. Any idea is good here.
yeah.
Okay, I almost believed you again. All right. We can leave this one, I guess, because a win is for sure for Arkady Naiditch here. I know the game is not ending yet, but it's almost certain that White will not lose or make a draw out of this position. Meanwhile, there might be a technical win in board 7 between Idani Puya versus Arash Tabash.
Oh no, this one can be tricky, I think,
Can
with
be
the
tricky,
one
yeah,
pawn. Yeah,
with the draw as well.
yeah. Um, I mean, it's certainly winning, like you pointed out, with the connected pass pawns. But with one extra pawn,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes things can be it can be used for counterplay. But I also see 40 moves has been crossed.
Oh yeah.
So Puya is going to get another 30 minutes. He'll have 42 minutes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, with that amount of time, the position is of course a huge plus for him.
So let's go back to the position or to the game that they're having some time trouble then. Okay, the game between Adiban and Sargsyan, they already crossed move 40 as well.
Hmm.
Kartiken, Raja Ritvi Kartiken, they're still struggling to go to move 40. So let's see what's happening there.
Yeah, I think this one's maybe going to be the last game to reach move 40 because of the pace at which they've been playing at
Mm-hmm.
so far. I'm guessing both 10 has also reached 40 moves, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, Borten. No, actually, they're still 5 moves away to 40th moves.
Yeah, and this also looks like an interesting position, yeah? The both 10. In fact, white seems to be significantly winning, which would be a massive upset. And maybe the move here is rook into d6, right? Ah, no, no. A couple
Ooh.
of moves quickly got updated, but there seems to be an error in the broadcast, which is why the buyer is so excited. Certainly, certainly Black did not play bishop to
Okay, okay.
b5 here.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, it certainly didn't happen there.
Yeah, and it was not also rook b4 earlier,
Uh-huh.
which was
But I think we can switch to the other game.
mhm.
Let's stick to Raja. Yeah,
Mhm.
Raja Karthikeyan.
The queens have just been traded, so queen into d7. Black has the option to take f into g2 first, which I think he will exercise that option. Yeah, he's taken it. King takes g2, and now black probably goes bishop into d7. We reach an endgame where black has the pair of bishops and an outside parser, but white might be having some immediate concrete defense here. So he plays the king to g1. After bishop into d7, I guess the point is he can take knight takes c5 here, setting up a discovered attack against the bishop on d7 and also going knight to e6. It seems to be that the game is heading towards a draw with this idea.
Right. Yeah, I think both players also just would like to simplify the position, knowing that they are on time trouble.
I mean, Karthikeyan was trying to create a mess for such a long time, and White was also trying to slightly create something. And maybe the game, obviously too early to clarify this as well
Mm-hmm.
and give a definite conclusion. But if knight e6 comes and the game goes towards an opposite color bishop, which is where it seems to be heading towards, then it's very possible that the game ends in a draw.
Yeah, so knight takes c5, and do we have a move after knight takes c5?
Yeah, bishop c6,
Bishop c6, wow.
defending the g2 pawn. Knight, let's say I play knight to e6 now.
Okay.
You have to go rook c8 maybe, or no, rook c8, bishop a6. Ah,
Rook
but rook
e8.
e8.
Yeah, rook e8. You cannot take the bishop because rook e1, and there's a promotion.
Yeah, yeah, this is the point. And this way he keeps the game alive with knight e6, knight e6, rook e8, and yeah, knight e6 on the board. Rook e8 will also be on the board, I think.
But I think in that position, I was thinking, oh, no, no, no. I was thinking rook f5 actually, but after knight c7, rook h5, there is knight d5, and then stopping,
Ah,
yeah, stopping the control over the g2 pawn. So I think rook
right.
e8 is the best move.
Yeah, I think he will play. I think rook e8 is what he's intended, and I think he will play it because yeah, there he goes, rook e8.
Yep.
This keeps the game alive. Four more moves to go. Just four more moves to go.
Okay, so I would be scared for white because of the g2 pawn, but maybe
Maybe
Maybe it should be
can I just
fine,
do
yeah?
rook e2 here?
Ready to, yeah?
Yeah.
Uh,
That's the only file. The e file is the only one that your rook can access. We don't have to wait very long to see Ritvik's move, but rook e2 is I think one option for him.
and then, oh,
He
what did
goes
he do?
d3.
Be free.
Again, keeps things status quo. He's like, my knight is on e6. It's protecting the e file. I have defended the a4 pawn. Your bishop cannot kick my knight out of e6 right now. And I actually see the difference in approaches. You know, all my moves that I'm suggesting are solid moves,
Uh-huh.
which are going towards liquidating the game. But the players, both the players seems to be in a mood to keep fighting,
Okay,
and they are constantly making moves that keeps the game alive.
I want to keep fighting too. I want to play h5.
H5. Yeah, H5
h5.
makes a lot of sense. Again, we don't have to wait much longer for Black to make his move,
There
and
you
he's gone
go.
for it.
Yeah, I mean, this is now very exciting. If the pawns are connected, and the h3 pawn, sorry, the h5 pawn will go to h3 and then protect the g2 pawn. Okay, with the pair of bishop, ooh, this is no. Actually, the idea is to checkmate with the pawn. That's it. What am I talking about? The idea is to go to h2 and checkmate with the pawn.
So White sees that, yeah, he takes prophylactic measures with rook d3. Again, keeping things status quo on the e file. The rook just makes a slight improvement, doesn't allow the pawn beyond h4 at any point. So it seems like we are then White's next two moves might be f4 and f5, and we are
Oh,
going
be
towards the
careful.
40th.
Be careful. If you play that, I might play b5.
Ah,
And there's always bishop b6, helping the pawn to promote on g1.
true. F pawn is untouchable for the moment.
King h7. Two more moves to go for both players to reach the thumb control.
Exciting.
Very exciting. So, is there any tempo with knight g5 going to f3 maybe?
No, I don't think he will touch this e6 knight for the moment. Uh, at least that seems to be the clear indication. Rook h3 was a threat, so that's why Black played the king to h7, coming towards g6 to protect the h5 pawn. But I don't think he's going to touch the e6 knight for the moment. But yeah, this knight g5, knight f3. I forgot that you're trying to capture the g2 pawn. Another move is f3.
He goes for rook e3.
Okay, completely my kind of move, trying to keep everything safe on the e5. Now, let's say Black plays king to h6. Do you think that's the move you would make?
Probably, because I'd like to step away from the possible check, but he didn't do that. He played bishop d6.
Because knight into c7 was the threat.
Oh, right.
Oops.
Nah, see? I shouldn't trust you again. Oh, when will I learn my lesson? Okay, bishop d6, one more move to go. To go to reach the 40th
Bishop
moves.
d5. Let's say I play bishop d5. What
Bishop
do you do?
d5.
Yeah.
Your idea is knight g5, but I just take it, no?
Then knight g5 check.
And
Rook into
then,
e8 and rook d8. Ah, he plays knight g5 check directly. And he's made his 40th move. Now, as
yep,
long as Black doesn't play king g6, I think he's going to be fine.
yes. Oh, king g7. Okay. I was I was about to become too shocked there.
So the
Okay.
g2 pawn falls, rook into e8, bishop into e8, and king into g2. I think this is White's intention. But because Black has these two bishops, that's the loss of that pawn is not going to, I think, seriously hurt his chances. So the position still remains equal, despite that very interesting time scramble.
All right. Okay. So both players successfully completed move 40 and now they have another extra 30 minutes on their clock. Let's take a look at other games if they're still in the time scramble. So ten, board 10, they're still one move away. Or is it?
Yeah, seems so. Seems so. One move away. Black is a pawn up right now. White has the pair of bishops, but the position, it just it's It's going to go on for a long time. I think that's the simplest way to put it. It's going to go for a considerable while. I mean, White has to make one more move for the 40th move, which he can make. I think even King to
King
H2.
h2, yeah. King
Yeah.
h2, I like this move. Yeah.
And,
Okay. So this position is not very risky for any player at the
yeah.
moment.
King H2, King G8 played.
Okay. Yeah, I think they just want to complete the move 40 and then be done with. What about
Oh, the game between Naidish and Paulina is still going on. The game is still going on,
it
Irene.
is, it is. It is still on.
Rook C4 is the last move, and then she replied with Queen D3. Yeah, but I'm so surprised.
I mean, why did Nara Arkady Nadic allow this knight to come forward to f6? There was a few other lines where you can just kill it, right?
Yeah, but okay. I mean, not like this position has any problems for White either, and you don't need to hurry. Yeah, this position also just Rook C8 and Queen C4, Queen C2 check should be game over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. Yeah. Okay. Uh, let's quickly check Adiban again because it looks like now one of the bishops have been traded off, and now we are seeing the position with a bishop for 2 pawns.
Bishop for one pawn.
Actually, bishop for 1 pawn. Yeah.
Yeah, bishop for one pawn, and if you play d5, black comes king c5. If you play c5, then black will set up a light square blockade, so you can't move the d and c pawns. If you play the pawn to a4, I mean, you can do that, but eventually it's going to
Yeah.
lead to a situation where black will force you to move one of these pawns, and I think it's pretty much a matter of technique here, so to speak.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And also there was no clear indication where Adiban made his mistake, right? Because everything was just, it was such a good flow for black. I think it was just some positional mistake in the beginning, but then
I guess just the position that he aimed for in the opening, although it was 0.00, you should have probably taken your advice because you saw that black's position was nicer to play with the light square bishop and black going long castle. And you turned out to be right. The long-term factors made it easier for black to play practically. So I think that was the first mistake. The position that he aimed for from
yep.
the opening, it was easier to play as black.
Yes, yes, you're right. And Adiban just played something. What was it?
King b4.
King b4. Okay.
Along
Yeah.
expected lines, but not really helping his chances much, I think.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there was another result on both eight. It's Mahdavi versus Daneshvar. This also was quite a roller coaster game because in the beginning it looks like Daneshvar was just seizing every initiative, but then Mahdavi was being very tricky. We can see the final position. It looks like White is totally safe right here. And there was apparently some draw offer after Rook h1 and was accepted by Daneshvar because the bishop on h4 cannot really do anything, and then if you go on the position where two rooks versus a queen, I think that's going to be very dangerous, especially in this position. If you take if you take the bishop after rook h1, and then I think it's just going to be better for white immediately.
Yeah, if black allows the game to continue, but with the king on b3 being exposed, I think black can
just make a perpetual. Yes.
Which is probably why they also agreed for a draw, because otherwise white might just be winning. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay. And probably let's step back to the first board and see what's happening in the game between Yushipenko versus Surya Ganguly.
Well, black is trying to keep fighting with bishop to h5 being his last move. The bishop came from g6. So maybe Surya saw this idea with rook g5 first, with the idea to checkmate. But this would this would allow white to offer trade of
Queen
queens with
f3.
queen f3. So he starts with bishop h5, taking the f3 square under control, and this enables him to create this threat of rook g5 and make it more fearsome. But white can address this threat by just playing the knight to e6, taking the g5 square under control. This is one way. Another way is to also play the pawn to f4, which seems a bit committal to me, but Stockfish really likes this move f4. But yeah, this seems a little more committal. So knight e6 seems like the safer move to me of the two options.
Yeah. Well, it's still pretty much long there because they have extra time on the clock. Meanwhile, I think we might be seeing the end of the game between Naidic versus Rivalova. Can we switch back for a bit? Yeah, Naidic is not on his chair, but I think as soon as he comes back, I think he will play Queen c8 followed by Queen f5. Or actually, Queen f5 now is good, followed by Rook c8.
Yeah. Queens, if you start with Queen c8, Paulina might just play knight g8
Yeah.
to keep the game going. I don't know. You can also take rook into a5. You know, when your opponent sometimes prolongs resignation like this, um, you also like to enjoy yourself by, you know, taking all the pawns and pieces.
All right.
And
So you
they're
think
like, now continue. Now see how you can continue.
probably okay. Also, after King h8, maybe Naidic will just take on the pawn, yeah, on f5.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're like, okay, so you're prolonging the resignation now. I take rook a5. Let's see what you come up with. So I would probably just take rook into a5 here if I was white.
Really?
Yeah, in a classical game where it doesn't matter. Like, okay, if you're determined to just continue playing, then sure, I can play along.
Yeah, let's see which one that Arkady Naidic will take on this one. Uh, okay, he seems to be thinking. I'm just going to quickly check other games if there are interesting position happening on the board now.
Sure.
Ike Matarosian already won the game in the lower board. Um,
So he moves to 2.5 out of 3, I guess. Yeah.
yes.
After he made a solid draw yesterday against Ayush Sharma, but two wins with the white pieces, and a pretty solid, a pretty standard start from him, I think. Dropping half point in one of the early rounds, I think, is perfectly fine in a tournament like this. It's really hard to, go full steam with full points because the level of opposition that you play from the very first round, regardless of how high rated you are, is very high. And
Oh,
there you see it goes rook into a5,
yes, Rook takes f5, and
and
there
she
you go.
resigns.
That's the resignation by Paulina, and therefore, yeah, Naidic Arkady, no, Naidic Arkady is the first one to enter the next round with full point. Okay, we can see other games as well. The game between Idani Puya versus Tahbash is still going on with these two connected pass pawns against another pass pawn. So technically, I think it should be winning, but I think you should really be patient not to come up in a situation where somehow the two connected pass pawns got blocked by the king, opponent's king, and the rook.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, the winning method for white, I would say, right now, advance the king and the pawns on this side and keep your rook just in case to protect against the advance of the g pawn. So there are three entities for white: the king, the passed pawns, and the rook, and two objectives. One is promoting the pawns, and the other is preventing the opposition from doing it. And you can't use the king to prevent the opposition pawn from queening because the rook is cutting the king off. So you have to use your own rook you have to assign the rook this task that you stop this pawn. And the rook can do it very efficiently while also performing other tasks because it can move to g8 in just one move. And on the other hand, the king can, just keep advancing on this objective, the primary objective of advancing the pawns.
Yes, yeah. Also, there's a principle of the stairs, yeah, where you move one step at a time, your D pawn, your C pawn, and then your rook, something like that. But okay, we'll leave this one for a bit, and because on board three we haven't really updated ourselves on that game between Zemlyansky and Narayanan.
Which it actually seems it's a pawn up for white, and seems like it came from a very interesting position at one point. But the position that we have reached right now, it's probably just a draw because despite the extra pawn for white, the problem is this king is cut off on the second rank. And generally, to get the king out, you have to bring the king towards the rook. But when the king moves too forward, then black attacks the g3 pawn. So this is why white has brought the rook to b3 here to protect both the g3 and the b2 pawn and start getting his king towards the game. Now, if he's able to get the king out, then he will be able to make use of the extra pawn. But black will not allow white to do this. And whenever the king gets closer towards the rook, he will start with his counterplay. So that's probably what SL is thinking about right here. So let's say king g6,
Yep.
king to e1. The king comes closer. Now we can actually just maybe play the rook to g2, wait for king d1. And if the king gets too adventurous, now you can start bringing your own king towards e4 and start threatening counterplay. Since the black pawns are a little more advanced, it's actually it can get dangerous for white also if white gets over ambitious and loses the g3 and h4 pawns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so look like this position is a technicality. I mean, to make a draw, yeah. But since Narendra Nesal here is one pawn less, I think he has to be careful. It is white who is deciding when to make a draw because all black can do probably is just waiting. All right, so I think all the games have passed the 40th moves, but okay,
He
I just
played
want to
king
wait for
d6
this
and
one.
rook b5, yeah?
Yeah, king g6, rook b5. And then I think you can just simply wait with king h6 again, yeah?
Yeah.
Or even a move like rook d2 also is fine.
Yes.
There's king e1, but then you can play rook g2 and yeah.
With pretty much the same result, yeah. But maybe just keep the king to g6
Yeah.
because you keep this option open of the king coming in.
Yeah, right. Well, but even if it's going to be a draw, I mean, it's still pretty fair result for Zemlyansky, who is only, what, 15? And drawing a player 100 above his rating is pretty good.
Absolutely. It's not bad at all. And also, he played a full game. He played a very interesting game. And black was up to it. So, draw seems like a fair result.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, yeah, rook is about to go now. Yeah, rook d2, rook d2.
Like you suggested.
Okay, I think we can safely leave all the games right now because they're already passing move 40. Although I'm still very tempted to go to the first board, Yushipenko versus Ganguly. It's interesting.
So, Esipenko chose to play f4, which was the strongest move, preventing rook g5. And black went rook e8 now. I think you can maybe actually just follow up with e5, no? What is he thinking towards? He's actually about to make a move. Where is his hand going? Knight e6 or e5?
If e5, you just take fe queen g3.
But yeah, you can do that, but I think the d pawn runs.
Yeah, I think so too. And yeah, if wait, was it d6?
d6. D6 actually makes more sense. It's a much safer move. First, run with the d pawn, put it on d7. I actually don't see this game lasting for much longer. Pawn goes to d7, the other pawn comes to e6, and I think I think Eshipenko is going to win this one pretty shortly.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So
With
rook,
Surya, he
so you
responded with
play
rook e8,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, rook
But you
n8
can you
is
can also see from his body language, I think he's kind of given up, but he's just playing a few more moves. Now I think white can also just go d7, no?
yeah, d7 and just keep rolling the pawn.
Yeah, keep rolling, keep. So once again, his hand near his head. Once again, rethought, looks at the clock for a second, and just taking his time to be sure, because we know how treacherous chess can be.
Torturous, yeah, yeah. Well, d7 is one move. Is there any simpler way to win? I think you just have to commit with the pawn anyway. You already push it to d6. You can keep going with d7. But I think he's reaching something else. Queen f3?
Really?
Is it queen f3?
Could be. Also, Queen F3 looks winning to me.
I mean, it shouldn't be queen h3 because then queen f4. So and he moved a queen, so I think it should be queen f3.
Yeah, I think so too. It should be Queen F3, but
So that
let's
after
just
queen g6, what happened?
after Queen G6, maybe now he wants to go Queen H3.
Ah, yeah, you have two ideas. You want to go f5 or you want to go queen takes h4, yeah?
I think he just wants to finish off with Queen F5 or something like that here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, very, very clinical. Queen f3.
Russian
Um,
chess school, yeah?
sorry?
The Soviet chess school.
Yeah, Soviet chess school just, very, very clinical, not you don't have to find the beauty in it. I mean, D7 should be come with calculation. It might be still winning, but yeah, just try to finish it off.
Yeah, I think he just didn't want to allow some Rook E2 related
Yep.
stuff. And D7, in fact, is not winning Irene. So, because of Rook E2. I miss Rook E2.
Oh, okay.
And now, if Rook D2, there's Queen G3 check.
And also, yeah, Rook D to Queen G3. And then how unfortunate the situation on the of the rook being on the D file because it also stops the pawn.
Yeah. After Queen into G3, H G3, King G3, and Rook into G2.
Yep.
And it's still not losing for white if you blender into it by chance. Uh, Knight E6 is the move. Knight
And
E6
I say six,
saves. Yeah.
yes, yes. You just take it, but then you had okay, still a pawn up, but it's a much easier
But this
position.
ends in a draw. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So for this reason, he saw it. He saw it coming, and
Mm-hmm.
he played the queen to f3.
So apart from queen g6, the queen can actually no, queen cannot go anywhere. It's either you take the queen or you play queen g6 or you play a move like queen g3, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So and after queen g6, queen h3, yeah, there's nothing that's stopping queen f5. But after rook a2, then just roll the pawn, yeah? After, yeah, okay, queen g6, queen h3, rook a2, just d7.
Yeah. Just d7 should do the
Pretty much
job.
anything, actually. You can play knight e6 too, with the idea knight f8. But okay, d7 I think is just the easiest.
So then what is queen into f3 also lost here? Queen into f3, g into f3. Bishop, bishop into f3 can't be anything because d7 is. Oh!
Ooh, rook a1, and there it is. Yes, yes.
So this is still one small detail that white needs to get it right and
Yeah,
navigate. Yeah.
yeah, white needs to pay attention to that. And also, I was thinking if king g1 here, the pawn on h4 might be dangerous.
Yeah. Then maybe first give a check, king f2 and h3. But now there's king g3. Then maybe
No, so probably just play h3. Like, why giving a check?
so I thought starting with h3 allows d7
And
and
rook a2.
ah
And I'm actually winning. Oh, see, I learned my lesson now. See, when I stop trusting you, I get to get good moves.
yeah, yeah. You take your time, but you learn.
Okay. All right, so this might be the line that Surya is gonna go. So what is the move after bishop takes f3 then? What should white do?
Yeah, what's the safest way to take care of all these things? Yeah, there's a threat of rook a1, there's a threat of rook a2, and what is the cause of all these problems? It's this h4 pawn.
I know what's going on. You
So,
just go king h3. You go
mhm.
for this pawn.
Yeah, this was my first thought. Now black goes g5 to try
Oh,
and protect the pawn, and it's still not game over. After
it
f
is
into
not.
g5, f into g5, d7. Black still has, I think, this idea with rook to a1.
Yes, yes.
I was thinking rook d2 here to keep everything protected.
But then rook, you can play rook h1 still, right?
Yeah, rook h1, rook h2,
And
then
then
g4 check.
g4. Yeah,
Um, and I think it's the same thing. King into h4, rook h2, king g3, rook d2, knight e6 should be a draw.
yeah. Okay, so in that position, probably instead of king what was that? King h4, after all the take on f3, oh, instead of king h3, can I just play rook a4?
Yeah, that's another excellent way to prevent the counterplay of black
But then rook b8.
with the same problems. Yeah.
Okay, Surya took the queen.
hmm
So Yushipenko is not on his chair, but soon he will
Yeah,
recapture
this
it.
will happen. Can I attack your bishop? That's the another problem causing thing in the position, right? So what if I just play rook d3 here? I try to take your pawn, which seems a bit too slow. So I just attack your bishop, and maybe this seals the deal. Yeah.
You are right. So
So
okay,
he's
I'll play bishop g4 just in case.
yeah, bishop g4,
Mm-hmm.
and now I go d7.
Can I keep giving checks down there?
So rook a2 check, king g1.
And then you just start climbing up, yeah? Like rook a1, king
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
f2.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But maybe what you can do, you can bring me out.
Yeah, yeah, just bring you out first and then h3.
Yeah, and then
And here you can take, yes. Take, and how do you take it back?
I think I'll take with the
With the
knight.
knight, yeah. And then h3.
And it's still tricky, Irene. So I think this one's actually going to go for a while.
Mm.
G takes f3, bishop at f3. Very interesting situation on the board. This is a live board, but now Eshipenko with just 9 minutes remaining, there's going to be no additional time since 40 moves
Yes.
has passed, has to solve some tricks. Um, I initially wrote this off, saying that white is completely winning and it's going to be a matter of few more moves, but I was wrong. And going deeper into the position, it seems like there is still quite a few things to solve for white, and black is going to keep resisting.
Right, yes. But Shipenko is very capable in thinking fast here. I don't think he's gonna take too long on his next move because a move like Queen F3, it's a quite capital move unless I saw some
Exactly.
eyebrow
Yeah, yeah,
twitching
yeah.
there. He might actually miss this Rook A1 idea.
Yeah, either rook a1 or he could miss any number of ideas, right? Like this bishop g4, bishop into d7. We saw a lot of positions which I would have initially thought it's completely over,
Yeah.
but it still keeps going, and these things are very easy to miss from far. It seems like he thought queen f3 was just lost
Yep.
for black, but now that he's into this position, he also realizes that there's still some work to do.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Okay, so that was quite a miss by Ishipenko. He could have done different thing. I think instead of Queen F3, by just playing Rook D2 would have been safer, I guess.
Yeah, for me, I would have preferred knight e6 here instead of f4. Because once you play f4, this was what I was saying. It's the strongest move by the computer, but I feel that it's safer to not touch this pawn and not weaken these things. And here he failed to follow up with the best move of Stockfish. Till this point, he was finding it, but here the best move stockfish was e5, a ruthless move, preparing to meet black's threat of rook a2 with not queen e4 check because there would be bishop g6, but now queen h3, and this forces the trade of the queen, more or less. If the queen refuses the trade, then white just goes with d7, and if the queen gets traded, then white is just winning. So e5 was the precise move here, but that required a bit of cold-blooded calculation, and maybe he saw e5, but he probably thought that the move that he played with queen f3 is also winning, which is still the case, and this is the live position right now.
Yep.
It's still the case. White is very much winning, but he still needs to find some precise moves here.
Yeah, that was totally a miss. Now we are reading Yushipenko's body language. After his committal move Queen f3, he totally missed all these ideas, even though he's still better position for white, but now the task is harder for him. So I think it's also very normal for the players to somehow found themselves in this type of situation after playing for like 4 hours. Going into the fifth hour of the game, everyone is getting tired, and the quality of the calculation is significantly lowered. So I think we can actually leave this one for a while, and we are going to go on a short break. So don't go anywhere because the critical moments of most of the top 10 boards are going to come soon. So see you soon after a few minutes.
My name is Rashid.
How old are you?
I'm 10 years old.
What's your favorite chess piece?
My favorite chess piece is the queen.
Queen? Why?
Because it's have so many moves.
What's your name first of all?
Mohammed.
Mohammed. Wow, nice name. How old are you?
10.
10.
10 years old.
And for how long are you playing chess?
I've been playing chess for 2 years now.
2 years.
Yeah.
Are you playing at school or are you also playing at home?
Both.
Both? Against whom are you playing at home?
My brother. There is my brother.
Oh, so you play together. That's
Yeah.
very nice. What's your favorite chess piece?
Chess piece. The queen, because who doesn't use the queen in battle? It's the most important. After the king is the most important.
The king is the most important.
أنا جعت. إيش تاكل؟
على هواك. يا ريت العيال كانوا معانا.
تم.
يلا على قطر. أسرع على هواك يا نواف.
رد يا ابو نسب.
كيف صوت العيال؟
معانا
هنا اشرب عسل.
ذي ولا ذي لأحمد؟
اسألي.
اختار اللي على هواك. كيفي معاك
حبيبي
سبرايز.
out of the round number 3. Irene Sukandar is striking back and winning with a nice sacrifice at the end. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How was the game? Maybe shortly you could tell about the opening, just in a couple of
It was
words.
an Italian, and okay, it's a variation that I chose, which is like generally slightly more pleasant for white, but it's a long game, and he didn't play so well, starting some bishop et, and I got a quick initiative.
After that, you had pretty pleasant position, almost winning, but at the end you had very beautiful piece sacrifice. Maybe you can show us what happened.
Yeah, so his last move was f3, and here I went knight h4. The point is if queen e4, can take, and now I have this move knight takes f3. It's a pin, and I win the rook. So because of this, he decided to go king h1 in this position. I still have knight f3 because if g3 I have queen h3, queen h2, queen f3. So he went rook f1, rook f8, and here he thought he can take this because, I mean, it's lost anyway, but here the important detail is now I can just take and go rook f5 and it's unstoppable mate. This is what happened in the game.
Yeah, mate is unstoppable. Thank you so much, Arjun, for showing. And maybe just a couple of words, like how did you manage, to come over the yesterday's draw? It was very stressful game maybe for you, but...
Yeah, no, that was such a bad game. I missed so many things. I misevaluated so many things. And okay, such a thing does happen once in a while. I was just a bit scared it will happen again, but at least I'm happy I played a fairly decent game today.
Yes, but you played like nothing happened today, yesterday. I mean, like nothing happened yesterday, and you played such a beautiful game.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Thank you so much, Arjun. Best of luck with next round.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Angelica, for the insight with Arjun Narayanan on his win on the third round. It was really nice game. Like I love how I didn't see actually the finishing of Rook F5 because it was really beautiful. So if you miss all the action, you can actually come back to Arjun's game on Lichess and then take a look at yourself because from the start to finish, it was all very instructive. And talking about instructive chess, I think we can now go to this end game between Adiban versus Sargsyan because it was winning from Sargsyan, but it takes some work, and I think he's getting there.
Yeah, instructive that with all the pawns on the dark squares, now white was down a piece, but he has 2 pawns, and with all these pawns, all of them placed on the dark squares, what white has done is he's going to play the bishop to d5. He has a pawn on f3, and this bishop will almost single-handedly take care of all these pawns from advancing. So then Shant only has to take care of this g pawn, which he can do by just bringing his king forward to f5 and then later to f4. At some point, a zugzwang will be induced. The pawn will be forced to move forward, and he'll just come back and take it. So it's a pretty straightforward win from here on. And this time I'm not going to bite my words,
Yeah. Well, that was, I think, just some technicality, yeah. Do you think Adiban will keep playing on or?
So I think the game will go for maybe about 5 to 10 minutes more because, acceptance takes time. And it's the third stage of grief, right?
Wow. Sri is, leaking all his personal experience here on the stream. Okay, there you go. Yeah, but I think it takes different approach for men and women for accepting things, right? So maybe
Really?
it's your third stage.
Really?
Yeah. We totally have a different pattern for acceptance.
So what stage is it for you?
I'm not gonna share it here. Okay, let's focus on the game. So here, Adiban is still thinking, and oh no, actually he just played King E3.
Yeah, King E3, Bishop D5.
Bishop D5
will
should be
come
the
on board.
move. Yes.
So I'm just going to pre-move it.
No, he already did it on the board as well.
Can't beat these kids in speed.
So what he's going to do is just probably King F2, then we can actually make the move. King F2, King E6 and then King F5, King F2 again. And then here, I think, what do you do? Just King F4?
Yeah, you can play king f4, you can play king g4 or
King
king
g4,
e4. All
yes.
these moves will. I think king e4 is the simplest, because by the time your pawn reaches g7, I'll end up taking the c5 pawn. So your last semblance of hope is gone and you resign.
Right, yeah. Wow, okay. It's not a pretty good day at the office for Adiban. And also today he's playing with white pieces and maybe tomorrow he's gonna take on black pieces. So probably, hopefully he can bounce back from this loss.
Yeah, the beast always bounces back,
Yep.
and Adiban he takes these losses in his stride.
Yep. I think we can now go back to the first board. Ishipenko versus Surya Ganguly.
Yeah, the thrilling first board action where we left at this point after bishop into f3. And Eshipenko indeed found his best move with rook d3 after taking 7 minutes. Now, here we were discussing this position with bishop g4, which was offering some practical chances for black. Surya did not play this. He played the bishop to e2, attacking the rook. The rook came to d2, covering the second rank. The bishop went back to f3 with the same threat of rook a1. But now white played the king to h3, attacking the h4 pawn and also creating this defensive idea. So the next two moves, white can go d7, d8, and this makes a lot of difference, this one tempo. Because the same position, here when we saw with king h3, g5 takes d7, rook e1, rook d2. Now the difference was if this pawn has already queened that one extra tempo, then black's defense of rook h1, rook h2, g4, king h4, rook h2 would simply not have the same effect. But because the pawn is on d7, the rook has that one tempo to catch it. Now coming back to the current position after king h3 with the rook on d2 instead of the rook on d4. Now this one tempo makes all the difference, and this ensures that white gets a winning position after d7.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, now tough situation for Surya. What to do in this one? Yeah.
Yeah, Surya has already spent quite a few minutes pondering on this position. He had 34 minutes before this move. Now he has 25 minutes, so he's already spent 9 minutes. He's put on a fantastic fight and he goes and makes this move rook to a1 with the idea of rook h1. Again, going through some of the final moments of resistance. Eshipenko has only
Less than
yes,
2 minutes on the clock.
yeah, I was going for 116 seconds, but he beat me to it. And so we don't have to wait too long to see what move he's going to make.
I think it's just simply take on h4, yeah?
True. That's the simplest way.
Yeah,
He's made it, yeah.
because then there's no more matting net around the king, and then you can take all the tempi here, play king g3 first, you can play d7 or anything that you want.
Yeah. I think with this it's pretty much over, no? The last symbol of hope for black.
Yeah,
The
there was the only hope, yeah, with rook h1.
Yeah.
But now, okay, so if I want to keep playing on, what will I do here? Even the bishop cannot stop the pawn right now.
Exactly. You can maybe do some rook g1 here, with some g5, g4. But I'm not really sure if this creates even a perpetual threat. Even d7, ignoring it completely should win, because I don't think this g5, g4 really does anything. The king just escapes, and there's literally even no mating net.
Yep.
So after king into h4, which is the live position, Surya has made
Rook
his
g1.
move. Yeah, he goes for rook g1. I think Shipenko can take a few minutes, few seconds actually. He has again multiple ways to win. So
Knight e6 is there if you want to just stop g5.
yeah, knight e6 is definitely there. You can also play f5 with the same idea of stopping
Yes,
g5.
f5 also, I like it. Yeah. So which one do you think Yoshipenko will choose?
d7, I think.
d7,
Yeah, I
just
think
go
so.
for it, yeah?
Yeah, if you can calculate the win, I think you make it. So
But I like your move, f5. I think I would just play f5 if I were white here. No, he's reaching for the pawn.
yeah,
d7 is
d7.
there, yes. Wow. Okay. Surya will play this g5 first. Just want to see what's going to happen there.
But yeah, in general, that's the rule in winning positions. If you have a direct win, I think you should just go for it because the longer you prolong it, the more potential complications that can arise, which is contradictory to what you used to have in the textbooks, which used to expound on these concepts like do not hurry. But in modern chess, with so much defense, um, if you don't take those chances, those direct concrete chances, I think it gets very complex in the future.
Yeah, but sometimes also, at this stage of the game, sometimes you get very tired in calculating all those direct line, and then when you see that there is an easier way to just stop your opponent's intention while keeping your hope alive, not hope actually, keeping your winning ideas alive, then you just go for it. Like f5 for me is a very simple one. You just go according to your opponent's intention, stopping g5, and at the same time, you can push your d7 pawn in the next move.
Yeah, the position here is such that I think almost any move wins. But in general, I think a lot of advances have taken place in the theory of converting better positions. And I think a lot has changed in the last 20, 30 years in the defensive psychology of the opponents. The level of resistance has gone up so much simply because people, they believe better in their defense or in the potential to defend bad positions.
Yeah. We can keep sticking to this one. I just want to note to the viewers that we have another result on board 5. It's a draw between Raja Ritvik versus Kartikeyan, but I mean, it was already expected. Okay,
And
there
we
you
have
go.
another result.
Oh, this is pure woman intuition, I know that this game would end. I don't want to move to any board. And then yeah, we have the resignation by Surya Ganguly, and therefore Shipenko is going through the next round with full point.
Yeah, I think he's the second player to join Arkady Naidish already with a full 3 out of 3. And Eshipenko is the second player to reach 3 out of 3. Now we have also two more games, I think, which is on the verge of one of the sides winning.
Yep.
One is the Adivan Shan Sargisian game,
Let's go there.
which I think is just a few more moves. In fact, Adivan might, just be making his way out along with Surya.
I was like, hey, oh yeah, there you go. Probably they were waiting
Male
each
intuition
other.
also works.
No, maybe they were waiting for each other, Like, hey, I want to go back to the hotel with you, so please don't leave me behind. So yes, there you go. We have another resignation from Adiban. It was such a good game by Sargisian, but also I think there was some positional mistake that Adiban did right after the opening that makes Black's play easier till the end.
Yeah, that's probably what they're discussing right now in the post game. But very, very nice games. And Shan Sargisian also joins with 3 out of 3.
Yes.
And potentially the next player who might join them is Puya Idani. Yeah? He's taken the 1 pawn, which was an obstacle to his winning chances.
Yep.
So now he has a clear 2 pawn advantage against his opponent, who has only 7 minutes more and also a completely lost position. He's lost the pawn that he had earlier, and it's a very straightforward win for white as well. Just c5, rook
The
d6.
stairs, I call it the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like a baby step, one move at a time. D4, c5, rook d6, and then keep going like that. And probably c6, d5, rook d7. So depending on the situation where the black's king and rooks are. And yeah, black is still thinking, but this is just some technicality for white to win. And meanwhile, let's go to the 10th board between Krishna Gutham versus Amin Tabatabai.
Which has been, I think, one of the most interesting games all through today. Gautam Krishna had a miraculous save yesterday against Shamsuddin Okido
Yes, yeah.
from a completely lost position. And, they also played each other earlier in Sharjah Masters. Tabatabai managed to defeat Gautam in that game. But he noted that it was actually not at all easy. And they also play online quite a bit, Lichess Bullet. So they know each other quite well. And although Amin outrates Gautam by almost 230 points, 229 points exactly, but Amin knows Gautam, and I think he has a lot of respect for him.
Yeah.
So this game, at this point, it seems to be heading towards a draw. There are too few pawns, 3 versus 3. Black as an outside passed pawn, but the pawn is well controlled by the queen right now. And Black's king is quite unsafe. He's exposed. So all these factors, it makes me think that this position seems to be heading towards a draw.
Yeah, I think so too. Although both sides have to be careful because you see that Black is aiming to put the queen on f4, so that's why queen d2 is necessary because otherwise queen f4 is there and then the position might be a bit better for Black, although I think one can argue White would still be fine after that. But in general principle, you just don't want to let your opponent to get what he wants. So bishop c4 is already on the board and possibly putting it to f7 or I don't know e6 so that you can make use of your pawn on a6, making it as a decoy to f5. So if queen takes, queen f4 is there. Yeah, although I don't know actually who's optically better in this position.
No, I think Black is definitely pressing. In fact, if any side has chances to win, it's probably Black. And if Black wants to make a draw, all he needs to do is just offer a draw, and I think White would be happy to oblige. So White is, I think, clearly a little more on the defensive side here. But it's just that I don't think Black has a lot to work with either. Is Gautam also the only person in the hall who is wearing a mask? I mean, it's not so easy to verify, but at least on the top 10 votes in all the 3 days, I don't think anyone else is wearing a mask, yeah?
Yeah.
So Gautam has that unique distinction of this.
I think we can go back to Narayanan SL's game because it's heading towards, well, it's been drawish, but now I think we might be seeing the end of it.
Yeah, White has an extra pawn, a protected passed pawn, but the problem is whenever the rook goes anywhere above the second rank, Black is going to relentlessly keep giving checks with no escape.
Yeah.
So this, and if the pawn moves forward without the rook, then Black goes and takes this pawn out.
I think he just played some rook move and there was a...
Yeah, rook a5.
Rook a5, yeah? Yeah, stopping h5.
Did White play rook b2?
I think rook b2 was played, yes. And I think you can just stay on the 5th rank and, you keep an eye on the pawn, but also you keep an eye on the possibility of entering the back rank whenever the rook on b2 moves away. But I was just pulling the table base here, that after rook b2, we have a few moves that's losing. So if you put the rook back to a1, it's losing.
Because of rook b3 check, yeah?
Yeah, rook b3 check.
I think he might play rook a3 for this reason.
Rook a3 is one of the moves that's drawn. Rook a3 is drawn. Oh, my move rook c5 was losing actually.
Yeah, the threat is rook b3 check
rook
and rook
b3
b4 check.
Exactly.
So if you go king e2, then
Rook
White has the
b4.
one tempo to get rook b4.
Yeah.
So some precision required from SL, but rook e3 is, I think, not that difficult to spot or understand.
Yep. Rook a3.
Is he getting up on his chair or something?
What do you
Like
mean?
he was doing something like this to, go
Higher?
like when you are, becoming ready to focus more in an intense situation.
I would in his position or situation, I would put my other leg to sit on it so that I can be a bit taller on the board and then I can reach the end of the end of the board like easier. So
He went rook a4.
rook a4 is on the board. Yeah, it is one of the drawing moves. Yeah. Well, I pull up this Lichess, the feature in Lichess about this table base is just showing each move. Okay, this is draw, 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 draw.
Yeah.
And then some moves are losing. Definitely rook a2 is losing for obvious reason. But for that reason also, I mean, you just have to put, okay, this is the losing move. Rook A2 loses, rook D2, rook E2, rook B4. Okay, pretty much whenever you give up your rook for white, it's losing. But anything else, it's drawn.
That's very informative and enlightening.
I don't know why I'm the commentator here. Anyone can just sit on my chair and then just read whatever it is on Lichess right now because it's showing.
Irene GPT.
GPT
Maybe Irene GPT took your place.
1.0. It's 4.0 right now, but for Irene GPT 1.1.0 is not even established yet. Okay. Rook A4, what do you do here? If you want to keep trying to somehow try to make a win.
So the last attempt to win might be, pushing the pawn with h5. And then when you try to take this pawn, if I can take the g4 pawn and then cut your king off from rook f4, then I might potentially be able to win as white. So to try and bring this about, one thing is I can, just try and move around a bit. There's not a lot of room right here. But when I'm trying to win positions which is not really winning, I do try and prolong by moving around aimlessly. He's gone h5, which was one of the final defensive,
attempt, yeah.
Final winning attempts. And after h5, actually black still needs to be a bit precise here. You can't just go and take this pawn after rook a5 and rook h5, because now white achieves exactly this attempt that I was talking about. Black takes a h pawn, white takes a g pawn, but after rook f4, there is a cutoff, and without the black king being able to participate in the defense against the g pawn, the king and the pawn will combine to push it. So after h5, SL still has to solve some problems. Now he needs to keep his rook on the a file one way or another. So rook a6 would be a solid defensive attempt. Is that what he has played? I think so.
I think so, yeah. Rook a6 is on the board.
He needs to keep the rook on the a file, so he has this rook a2 check, rook a1 check ideas ready. Now, if white starts checking now with, which is what he might do, rook b3, rook b4, the king goes all the way back to f5, and here he can
actually just play king f6 here.
Yeah, he can just play king f6, which is a safe move.
Which, by the way, Ivan played rook f2 instead of all the checks. So he wants to do this cutoff on f4.
But as black, you just need to
just don't play rook h6, right? Just don't play rook h6.
Yeah, that would be a very instructive. That will be in the rook endgame textbooks.
Yes.
There is one of his books, Tragicomedies in the Endgame by Mark Dvoretsky.
Yeah, tragicomedy.
So rook b6, I think would do the job.
I think rook b6, rook c6, rook d6, as long as you being multitask with the h6 and the second rank. And what did he do? I think he did rook b6. Yeah.
You want to keep it as far away as the king, although here it doesn't make a lot of difference. But in general, rook as far away as the king when you're giving these checks, so that the king cannot reach the rook. Did he play rook c6 instead?
Rook c6.
Okay.
And we also have another result on board 7. As we predicted, Idani Puya also won his game. And they're still analyzing right now. So that means Idani is also going to the next round with a full point.
So we have 4 players with 3 out of 3. And I think it's also not so difficult to make the pairings because they're all winning with different colors. But I'll not hurry with that yet, because there's still one more game left with 3 out of 3. And the people with the full points so far, Andriy Yeshipenko, the highest seed amongst those who have 3 points at first. Then Shan Sargsyan, Arkady Naidish, and Puya Idani. So logically, it should be, I guess, Puya against Yeshipenko tomorrow, and Naidish versus Shan Sargsyan.
Yeah, Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's leave this game for a while and update ourselves on the 10 board. It's Krishna Gutam versus Tabata Bay. Looks drawish still, but you are right. Black is pressing.
Yeah, and you are right. Black put the bishop on f7.
When am I wrong?
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay. Yeah, so queen g5 is on the board. The king is already stepped back to g2, so queen f4 it's not coming with a check. But what is the idea here? If black would like to keep pressing on a win, you definitely have to make use of the a pawn. But I think everything is very much protected here. Like if you make the a6 pawn going forward, I think white can just simply taking it because it's no longer a good decoy.
Right. So as white, I think you just keep the queen on c7, you keep the bishop on f3, and then you just move your king. So where do you move your king? You can move it to g3, I guess. You can move it to h3. I think you can move your king almost anywhere in this position.
Or you can even play queen a5.
Yeah, you can play queen a5, but I don't want to give up the h5 pawn. Even if it doesn't hurt me much immediately. This pin is a threat, and I just don't want to give that extra pawn for
Yes.
black, even if it doesn't really matter much here. So that's why keep the queen here.
Yep.
Don't allow the bishop to move, and don't allow this pawn to move. The queen on g5 also doesn't have a lot of mobility because it needs to keep guarding this e5 pawn. So I guess black just play the queen from f6 to g5. So where can black really go, and what is his next move? If you move the king, then I'm going to give a check, and then I'll return back to my post after the king comes back to the 7th rank. Otherwise, I just wait with king g3 and I ask, what are you doing? I prefer the king on g3 because, in case of a bishop into h5 after a decoy, I'm closer towards this g4 pawn, so I'm able to defend it better. So king g3 is my preferred move here as white.
Yeah. Yeah, I think anything should be drawing there. There's some updates on the game between Zemlyansky versus Narayanan, but nothing much going on because the position is pretty much drawish, just like what we saw earlier on. King g3 is in fact
king f1 is
no,
played.
king f1. Yeah.
He's just keeping his king away from any potential check, which is also something I can understand. King g3 runs into queen f4 check, which is inconsequential, but so king f1 on the board. I think queen f4 anyhow, and then the king goes back to g2 anyhow. So it's pretty much the same thing. Black might try and triangulate with queen f6, asking what is your move. But again, king to g3, and there's actually not a lot. He comes back with the queen. He goes queen c3 again.
Wow. Okay, that is still fine, I would say.
It's fine, but I'm not sure actually. It allows the a pawn to advance now. Like I can play a5 now. And a4. Maybe he thinks he can attack the pawn now, but I don't know. This makes me a bit scared as white.
Yeah, I think I understand. No reason giving this pawn a hope, to move forward, and even if after doing that is still a draw, but I think that is a worthy attempt for black if black would like to keep pressing for.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, and I was sorry, I was pausing there because I could see from the other screen there was some glitch in the game between Zemlyansky versus Narayanan that suddenly it was black to move, it was not white to move.
I think it's going towards a draw, no? Maybe we can
is.
just go there and be there for the finish.
Sure.
because as we anticipated, when the rook moved forward, there was a check. There was a couple of checks. The rook came back, and then the black rook resumed his post with rook a6, and
Yes,
there we have it.
there we have it. Yes, there we have it. The result for board 3, Zemlyansky, Ivan versus Narayanan, ended with a draw. Okay, so there's only one game left in the top 10 boards. Yeah, but they are on 1.5 out of 2. So they're not going to be determining the leaderboard for the next round.
Absolutely. At least not for the next round at least. Although they are in close pursuit with the leaders, and in general, 2.5 out of 3 is it's a fantastic start to have in a tournament like this, such a strong tournament.
Yeah, definitely. And well, Gautam here has been playing against stronger oppositions as well. Not only this round against Tabata Bay, yesterday. Okay, he played against Vogadov Shamshidin. Actually on the first round, he defeated one of the best female players from Germany, Josephine Heinemann.
Yeah. So black plays the king to f6. He protects the e5 pawn for now. He's actually doing a good job. White immediately plays the king to g2, protecting the f3 bishop. Now I think black will go bishop to e6, attacking the g4 pawn and making another step towards exerting pressure. So, Ainen, I think this game is not as elementary as what the computer bar suggests. It's a very much a two results game.
Yeah.
The percentage of black success is less, but it's definitely not equal chances. It's either black wins or a draw.
Yep. Okay, so I think we can start wrapping up, Srinath, because all the leader boards, they have already finished, and we know for sure who is going to go to the next round with full points. We have Ishipenko Andrei, we also have Sargishan Shant, and Arkady Naidic and Idani Puya. So we have full players with full points with 3 out of 3. And tomorrow we still don't know what's going to be the color for each of them, but they are for sure going to play against each other.
Yeah, and two of them won with the white pieces, two of them won with the black pieces. And although we are not exactly sure about the colors, I think they're just going to play alternate colors in most likelihood.
Okay, so looking back at today's rounds, today's games, Srinath, which one is your favorite game of the day?
This one's easy. I think we are all unanimous with this. It's a game of Salim Saleh.
Yes. I also like that one too. But the game of Arjun is also very instructive. I really like that one from the opening perspective as black, because it really, taught me the idea that, hey, you can actually allow a6 to happen, and then you can just push b6, and then after everything is closed in the queen side, then you can focus on the center and the king side. And somehow Arjun found all those sequences, and then it was such a beautiful finish in the end. After rook f5, opponent resigned.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful game. We also saw a game of in Ragozin where black had the knights on e4 and g4, and she won her game as well against Praneeth Upala. Nandita won her game. So yeah, there were actually quite a few fantastic games today.
Yep.
As like every other day as well.
Yes, well, okay. Today has been very fantastic for us, and we hope that it is also a fantastic day for all the viewers. And tomorrow we are going to come back at the same time, 4 p.m. local time, starting round number 4. So thank you so much for watching, everyone, and thanks to our media team, Kati Sachalashvili, Angelica Volkova, and all the Lichess production team. Srinath and I say goodbye for now, but see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.